Hello, hello, hello. I'm Juicy Lou, and I'm here with my Juicy Thoughts. Just a little bit about Juicy Thoughts. We started out in 2018 as a monthly drag show in San Francisco to showcase queer, trans performers of color in a predominantly cis white male space in the Castro. We transformed into a podcast in 2020 to learn more about LGBTQ public figures in the Bay Area. And now, adding to my media mogul empire as I become the next Gaysian Oprah, we are here taking over Chopssticks Alley. We're here every second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. Although this is like the third Thursday because, it doesn't count. One Thursdays in September really doesn't count. A little bit about Chopsticks Alley. Chopsticks Alley Art promotes Southeast Asian cultural heritage. We provide support and promote artists through art exhibits, classes, performances, and events. We celebrate the cultural diversity of Southeast Asian art to foster greater understanding and connect communities. There's an upcoming class. If you or your family live in Santa Clara County, we have a special art workshop coming up on October 10th. The cyanotype workshop, preserving memories. What does home mean to you? Art supplies will be mailed to the participants. Check out www.hiddenheritages.eventbrite.com. Our producer, shout out to Tassi Alabastro, and also has now become our streamer and making way for our new producer, Yancy Trinidad. Shout out to y'all. And how about y'all kick off my Juicy Thoughts intro music? Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
And here she is, doing a number one, chewing up the chops. She's big and getting bigger, and she goes by the name of Juicy. Everybody wants a piece of the action. Everybody's talking about Juicy. Her favorite body parts will soon be yours for a fraction. Her insides lying overhead will be a distraction. And everybody knows about, everybody's talking about Juicy.
I'm so excited to be taking over Chopsticks Alley with my Juicy Thoughts. We are broadcasting live on Facebook and on twitch.tv/Chopsticks Alley. Also, I'm hosting it on my channel on Twitch, Juicy Lou Realness. Special shout out to our friends at the Billy DeFrank LGBT Community Center down in San Jose for helping promote this show. I'm so thankful to be here with all of you in these crazy times. We are still in it. I'm coming here streaming live from San Francisco and Twin Peaks. Tonight we have viral TikToker Virginia, please, as well as Chopsticks Alley founder Trami Kron. We're going to introduce them bit more fully later, but feel free to jump in the conversation, when I, talk to you about it. But first, let me tell you more about my juicy thoughts. Oh my goodness. This show is all about reinvention. And can I tell you what it means to be a inventive person? I mean, I don't know if you know, but we kind of are sitting in Silicon Valley, and like in San Francisco, sort of like a city outside of Silicon Valley, but part of it, but part of not. And I'm just like really excited that tonight's show is all about invention, reinvention, reinventing yourself as artists. We constantly need to kind of keep up with the times. Things There's a need out there that creates the change that we want to see, and we have to like try to figure out ways to become, meet the moment basically. And if you are a watcher of Chopsticks Alley, with me, Juicy Lou, taking over, you'll notice that I am wearing different hair. Drag performers actually, I think, are kind of it's in their DNA to be reinventing themselves constantly. They're constantly thinking about the new ways, what's on trend, what's going on. You may notice that I'm always with my blonde hair, big, blonde, and beautiful, as I like to say. That's a quote. But this is actually my pageant hair today because I am, and I have my tiara that I actually was crowned as Miss GAPA 2016, because I want to also do a big shout out to GAPA out there. We are actually broadcasting on GAPA's Facebook. You might have seen the pre-show earlier. And that's all. A lot of GAPA photos in that, and there's a video from last year's Pride. I mean, just kind of remember what it was like to be not like 6 feet apart. And I mean, just, GAPA is all about building our communities since 1988. Just another little shout out. I'm the chair of GAPA, and we're really trying to embrace these new mediums, embrace the moment, reinventing ourselves. We just went through a rebrand, and we're getting started. I'll tell you more about our exciting new stuff at GAPA, but that's a big shout out to GAPA. I also want to do a personal shout out for myself because I'm actually running for the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District. And I'll take this moment of personal privilege to encourage everyone to vote on September 19th at 12 p.m. There's info at castrolgbtq.org/election. I'll probably drop that into the chat later, maybe now, I don't know. But basically, what it is the Castro Cultural District was formed about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, through some legislation in San Francisco City Hall. Basically, what Supervisor Ronan said that there was a need to protect our cultural districts in San Francisco, and that the magic of these cultural districts, the magic of what makes San Francisco amazing and beautiful, and for artists and queer people and just queerdos and weirdos and artists, that was actually leaving, and a lot of it was due to gentrification and all these things. So that's the reason why cultural districts were created. And anyways, long story short, there's an election. Anyone can vote. I encourage you to vote, and you can find more information there. I'm not saying vote for me, but whatever. Um, but that kind of touches base on a little bit of like, what it means to sort of reinvent yourself in the community. What does it mean to sort of be part of the community? And as far as I'm concerned, I feel like every year I'm reinventing myself. Every year I'm challenging myself, and 2020 has been a challenge. Let me say, right? I know everybody on this call has been challenged with lots of crazy things happening in their lives. Um, my heart breaks for all the wildfires victims, the evacuees in California. I mean, thank goodness we're seeing a little bit more clearer skies here. I am talking a little bit fast because I have a lot on my mind. It's been so long. I'm so excited to be here. But as well as reinvention is concerned, learning to become a politician is something that my alter ego, Michael, is learning very quickly what that's about. And borrowing from me, Juicy, I mean, it's kind of weird to have like the split personality thing, right? But I feel like drag queens are constantly figuring out how to best engage our community. And speaking of drag queens, I also am a drag queen ambassador, or drag ambassador, sorry, for Drag Out the Vote 2020. Just check that out. Dragoutthevote2020.org. I'm working with on a national campaign I know, right? A national campaign to get people to go vote. Did you know that 1 out of 5 LGBTQ people did not vote, are not registered to vote, and did not vote in 2016? 1 out of 5. And it's like something like 200,000 people just sat home. I mean, if we can get more 18 to 35-year-olds to get out there and vote, we can really make a difference in the world. Make sure to notice that it's less than 50 days to the election, probably one of the most important elections in our lifetimes. If you're not registered to vote, go check that out. Again, dragoutthevote2020.org. Check out, I mean, I'm just going to promote myself because there's a show coming up in San Francisco Bay Area. Queens are coming up with a show on October 9th. I'm trying to come up with an activation on October 11th. Follow me on Juicy Lou Realness, Instagram, Facebook, Venmo, whatever. You'll see more. But the election is very important, so I encourage everyone to go vote. It's really it's a big deal. So what else is on my mind? GAPA. I talked about GAPA a little bit earlier, but GAPA Runway, so a lot of the pictures that you saw in the pre-show was all about GAPA Runway. Runway has been going on since 1988, actually since 1989. But we've that's kind of where we crown a Miss GAPA and a Mr. GAPA, and that's where we have royalty. Royalty. That's where we get my tiara. That's where we change lives, honey. That's where we get folks in the community who are just normal everyday people, and then they go to runway, and then they get on stage, and then become fabulous ambassadors for the queer and trans API community for the Bay Area. And that's definitely been my experience. I'll talk more with Virginia Please, who actually, boy's name is Jethro, and he was our Mr. Gappa in 2012, I think. I might be wrong. But anyways, Gappa Runway is back in 2020, but it's going to be different because of the COVIDs, and that's going to be on November 21st. Check it out, gappa.org/runway. We are in need of volunteers to help out, and if you're so inclined, some sponsors. There's also tickets available on Eventbrite. That's all in the link, gappa.org/runway. And well, Jethro and I are actually going to be in a photo shoot because it's going to be all online. We're not actually doing a pageant, but we're doing kind of a kind of like a Beyonce music video / tribute video / like telethon about GAPA. It's gonna be fabulous. It's gonna be crazy. There's a photo shoot happening in about a week. I still figuring out what to wear. I think I bought some crowns because this crown is like has seen better days. I basically crushed it once, like in a suitcase. Sip from me to you. Don't crush your tiaras. It's not a good idea. That's pretty much most of my juicy thoughts. I mean, the last thing I'll say is that anytime there is innovation, there's a big crisis before that innovation, or there's some kind of problem. I'm actually a patent lawyer. If you don't know this, I'm a patent lawyer, and so I'm always about problem solving and thinking about solutions. And so when we're thinking about today's episode, I want you to kind of think about what problems are out there that you see, and what solutions are you going to get involved in to help fix. Again, go register to vote. The last day to register to vote in California is October 19th. I'm talking directly to the Vietnamese community right now because the Vietnamese community is very powerful, and once they get their mind on something, they're going to go do it. And I'm talking to the Southeast Asians, go vote. I'm talking to all Asians, go vote. In California, October 19th is the last day to register to vote. Check it out, dragoutthevote2020.org. And I'm going to bring in my lovely guests, if they're interested, to sort of chime in on all my juicy thoughts in the last couple of minutes here, just kind of, and also just check in and, say hello and, hi, and how to do. And hey, Virginia, how you
Hello,
doing?
Juicy. Oh my God, you are so high energy. I wish I could, be at your level too.
You know what? Like, to get on my level, you just need like higher hair, because the higher the hair, the closer to Jesus. And I
I'll
swear
take
the
note of
spirit takes
that.
me over. I'm
Woo.
from Texas. You just gotta see it.
I
You
love
know what
it.
I
I love
mean?
it. I love it. Yes. I'm so excited to be here, Juicy. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And so, what did you listen at all to any of my juicy thoughts,
I
my rants, as it
did, and
were?
I have some thoughts about reinvention, darling.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I did not take drag seriously up until the lockdown happened. and I considered the lockdown as my chance to reinvent myself, and hence why that's why I'm here. You invited me because, I think that because I had so much time, I was able to really explore the extent of what I can do in terms of drag. And, I was able to create a personality in TikTok called Virginia Please. And in that platform, I teach DIY filmmaking and as well as highlighting queer Filipino representation in film and pop culture. And,
Amazing.
I'm
We're gonna talk more about that in a little bit,
sure.
but first, are you registered to vote?
Yes, darling. Yes.
You
If
second.
you I don't know if you've seen my posting, but I'm very political as well,
Okay.
especially during the 2016 elections and in the recent primaries. You know what I did? I was in the headlines. I protested a
Oh,
candidate. Unfortunately, remember that?
I remember, hun. I remember. So I know that you're a political queen. I mean,
Mhm,
actually, I don't know if you're a political queen. You're a political activist type.
mhm.
But on top of that, are your I'm just curious. This is a random question. Is your family registered to vote?
They
How
are.
okay.
So I got yeah, they to answer your question, yes, they are. But I come from a very political family. Well, I'm referring to my mother, right? My mother, Virginia, whose my name is derived from. Her name is the real name is Virginia. She influenced my drag. So we're very, very, very political. She was a political activist in the Philippines. And voting is very important for us as well. So yes, they are registered to vote.
That's amazing. That's amazing. How's everything with you and your family? Good. You're
We're good. So the moment the lockdown happened, we literally locked them down. We did not allow them to go out, even go to groceries. We would volunteer to do it for them. It's just dangerous for for people who are susceptible on taking on the virus. So yeah,
yeah.
but we're good. I have some videos of me visiting them and just waving from their windows. Strange time.
Waving through a window. It's a Broadway song, right? It's a Broadway. I love Broadway.
How about
Oh
you,
my
Juicy?
god.
How's your family?
My family's good. They're in Texas. My mom and my dad are divorced, but they
Mm,
I chat every now and then. It's been hard. They're definitely feeling the brunt of. I mean, Texas is crazy. They always worried
yeah.
about me in San Francisco, and I'm actually
Yeah.
worried about them in Texas. It's
Yeah.
a little bit
Well,
crazy.
going back to our topic of reinvention, I think this is really our all of our chance to reinvent ourselves because
Yeah.
now we're locked down at home. We can, I if I'm just speaking for myself, drag is one of the things that I was frustrated about because I wanted to pursue filmmaking and hence I
Mm.
didn't have time for it. But I dug deep to that frustration again and reinvented myself. So my advice for everybody: this is your chance. Go reinvent yourself. You have all the time, and make use of it.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'm gonna fully introduce yourself.
Mhm.
Introduce yourself. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna fully introduce you. I've never fully introduced you as a queen. So this is exciting. And I'm gonna do it in my best drag voice, as if I'm on stage and the Castro and my drag show. So, Virginia Please is a drag queen filmmaker. She is part of TikTok's Creative Learning Fund, where she teaches DIY filmmaking and highlights queer Filipino representation in film and pop culture. Virginia is the alter ego of queer filmmaker Jethro Patalighog. I am so bad. I'm sorry. Uh,
You're good.
Virginia's name is derived from Jethro's mother's name, Virginia. Mother Virginia and her political work in the Philippines serves as the main inspiration for Virginia Please. Welcome to the stage and my
Woo!
show, Virginia Please. So excited to be here.
Exciting.
So,
Yeah.
so we have a little tradition on Chopsticks Alley to do a little bit of who are you, what are you, where you stand, what's your identity, and everything like that. So, like, just quick questions,
Yeah.
before we get into a little bit more of the theme for tonight. When did you first identify as an activist?
Oh, the moment I was born, probably. I've already seen my mom, as early at the earliest age I can remember. I've seen my mom in televisions, protesting, barricading
Mm,
our land, protecting it from the military and demolition.
wow.
My mom fought for so many things in the Philippines, and I just realized recently that my first foray into drag was actually through my mom because when she was a political activist, her job became so dangerous that they were being killed one by one by the military. So my mom had to come up with a disguise. So I would literally watch my mom transform from a very ordinary person
Mm,
and putting on her makeup and eyeshadow. And I just realized recently that was the first time I realized the power of drag and
yes.
femininity. And that's why drag for me, first and foremost, is very political. It's very politically rooted, and and that's why it informed my work. My recent film, 50 Years of Fabulous, was about this Imperial Council organization, which was founded by the very first openly gay man to run for public office in 1961, Jose Saria. And when he ran, he was a drag queen
Yes.
already for 15 years.
Wow.
So
And this is
I could connect the
1960? You
dots.
just
I could connect the dots,
What
and
year was that? 1960?
1961, Jose Saria ran for public
61.
office. Yeah. And that was the first time that the public realized that there was a gay vote, because he garnered over 6,000 votes. And that did not ever happen ever prior
I
to
mean,
that.
back then in the 60s, like it was gay culture or queer culture was very underground still.
Hmm.
There was like not very visible, not being very out. I mean, right
Definitely.
now we're being very visible, very visibly queer. But
Definitely.
like think
Yeah.
back then in 1961, wow, that's
They
amazing.
were fighting for their lives in
Mm,
1961. They were being electrocuted. They were
wow.
being put to prison just for being gay. They were it was horrible. It was such a horrible time. So they had a lot to fight for. So we're very lucky right now, actually, as a
Yeah,
community.
and I love that you brought up your mother because
Yeah.
I mean and watching your mother put on makeup because I actually remember my mother putting on makeup. I don't know about you all down at home, and if you're in the chat, ask us some questions or whatever, and maybe share a time when you first saw drag. Maybe that inspired you. But for
Mhm.
me, I saw my mother, and she's like this little tiny woman, 4'9", and she wears like these really high heels, like she wears size 5, and I know because I tried the shoes on when I was a kid, and it was very it was small, but I saw her do makeup and just a little bit here, a little bit there. But tell me more about like when did you decide to become a drag performer?
Yeah. So my drag really started in the Philippines. I had a friend who owned a bar, and whenever they had big events, they would invite the closest friends to perform. And that's where I really first started performing. But it was just like once a year or twice a year. Even Yancy, our producer, we performed together in drag in the Philippines. So that's where my drag really started. But when I came to San Francisco when I immigrated,
Hmm.
I did not really know anything about San Francisco, and
Wait, hold
I'm
on one second. Can we go back? So
yeah.
you did drag in the Philippines. What was that like, and what year was that? I'm just curious.
It was 2005 and 2006, 2007, around that time. So
Okay,
that's like what,
yeah,
15
about
years
10
ago?
years, 10
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I came here, I did not know that this was like the mecca of LGBT community. I had no
Wait,
idea at all.
wow.
But that really sparked my interest into the subject. So much so that I made a film about the Imperial Council, who are mostly composed of drag queens. And I'd just been observing people. I joined Mr. and Miss Gappa. I went Mr. Gappa, and I've been exposed to many types of drag queens. I've been exposed to political drag queens like the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. So, and Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. So I've had so much time to observe and see the kind of work that they're doing, the nobility of it. So I've always been fascinated about it, but I never really had a chance to really explore it, because I had another priority, and that was filmmaking and
Yes.
trying to support myself. But then again, I'm repeating myself, during the lockdown, that really gave me sort of like the time to really explore drag and use it, in a very meaningful ways.
By the way, you are gorgeous.
Thank you
I
for
am
having me.
very jealous of your
You
beauty,
know,
your natural beauty. Very gorgeous. I want to talk a little bit more now about what we do here and what we're doing with this show.
sure.
I'm actually trying to reinvent this show. Let me just be honest. Let's just put it out there. The show started out maybe actually around the lockdown, the shelter in place happening. As sort of a response to it, but it's been sort of here and there, and then we've had had great guests. We've had amazing guests. But, it started out as Chopsticks Alley After Dark, Juicy Thoughts to uplift Southeast Asian queer and trans artists. But now I think we're evolving a little bit. I mean, you'll always see me here. And then I think maybe I love your luck. I love this. Like, we have a connection with GAPA. We have a connection with politics. We have a connection with trying to uplift Southeast Asians that are queer and trans, and as a visibility, as a kind of a political thing. Would you be willing to sort of like join me as a co-host permanently?
Ooh, of course. Like,
I mean,
yes,
not
of
to
course.
put pressure on you, or not that this is not even, we never talked about it ever, and I'm just throwing this at you.
How can I answer it with a more, a casual way? Of course, Juicy, I would love to.
I mean, it'll give you a reason to get
Uh,
all dressed up at least once a month,
yes. No,
Um,
I think my drag is progressing really fast in the past 3 months or 3 months or 4 months or so. And I've also reinvented my TikTok right now to actually highlight Asian and Pacific Islander queer folks that are making headlines and that are part of history. I think is a really important work, and I think that aligns to what you want to do here in Juicy Thoughts After Dark, right?
it totally does. I'm all about visibility. I'm all about, to be so visible, to be putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
As and I consider my drag persona as a public figure because I, put
Mm-hmm.
together a show, I produce shows, I'm out there in the public eye, bringing attention to myself, whether wanted or not. You're gonna know that I'm in the dang room, okay? Um, but at the same time, visibility is hard, and like, how
It
do we encourage
is.
people to be out or come out, or come out to themselves first of all, come out to their families, come out, maybe create a whole other persona
Mhm.
as a drag persona. There's so many ways that, at least I from my lens, and then there's other ways to be visible as a queer person or
Yeah.
trans person.
It's a very basic concept for me, because you believe what you see. And if you don't see the queer API in what you see, then they're invisible, right?
Hmm.
That seems like a very basic concept. And that sort of affects everything else around it,
Hmm.
politics, work environment. If you're constantly fed by the thought that there are no queer APIs out there that are existing, then
Yeah.
that's what you believe, and that's what other people
Can
believe
I
too.
can I tell you a story? Because like
Sure.
I'm chair of GAPA, which means I get a lot of emails on our website GAPA.org, and I actually got an email from a queer API person, and she was like, I want to start a pen pal program, and I kind of want to meet some queer or trans API person over age 50 because I didn't believe they existed. And I was like, what? Like, it's like, yeah, I just, she was like, I never really met them. And,
Yeah.
she's like younger, and I was like, okay, sure. Yeah. We're, here at GAPA, we've been around for 32 years, over 32 years now, 33 years. We definitely have folks in their 50s, and we're one of the oldest organizations out there. Shout out to GAPA if you're in the chat or in Facebook. Shout out, say hi, hey, what's up? What's your experience with GAPA being Mr. GAPA?
Yeah, it was really great because after winning, that really opened my door to all the community work that's happening in San Francisco. That
Hmm.
is very unique in the city. You don't, well, there are other cities that are doing it too, but you don't see the kind of dedication into fundraising and helping out so many organizations that are needing help. And I feel like I was put in a place where my heart is also aligned because I've started doing that in the Philippines, being active in the gay community there and whatever in our pride organizations. I made their videos. And lo and behold, when I came here, I got to segue. I've got to help the Global Pride Interpride and with a
Wow.
24-hour stream. And I feel like I was put in the right place at the right time with the right kind of alignment that I was supposed to be. Yeah.
And so, can you tell me a little bit about your reign? Like, so that was I right, Mr. Kappa 2012? I don't remember.
Mhm.
Was that?
Yeah. 2012, Ooh, my Miss Gappa was Jezebel, and we really had so much fun.
I
Um,
love Jezebel. She's
yeah,
great.
Jezebel. If you know her, she hosts Miss the Runway now. Hello, Jezebel. And the next time we're together, we're going to be both in drag. Right. Yeah, it was such a great opportunity for me, and that's why I encourage all of you out there who are watching and who want to connect more with your community. Please check out gapa.org. If you're interested in the pageant, there's an upcoming pageant called Gapa Runway, which is going to be online. It really gave me a chance to realize the kind of community and how big the community is actually, and how active it is, and the kind of work that the foundation is actually doing. We sponsor so many young kids and adults out there to with their education and whatnot. We also support other organizations that are needing fundraising support. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
really.
I'm so glad you brought them up because GAPA Foundation actually renamed themselves to Prism Foundation, and they're
Mm,
still doing amazing work. This is another success story of GAPA. GAPA has been able to basically create a platform for queer and trans API folks to sort of, if you have an idea, you run with it and you take it on. So back in 1988, of course, it was the AIDS crisis, and that
mhm,
was front of mind at the time. There was no culturally competent way to
mhm.
deliver, HIV prevention, and
Yeah.
so there was the GAPA actually created a committee, the HIV committee, which became the GAPA Community HIV Project, which became
Mhm,
Living Well, and eventually became Asian API Wellness Center, which is now the San Francisco Community Health Center. So
mhm,
it's a long history, but we shout out to SF Community Health Center and the connection, which we're still very involved with, as far as public health is concerned. But GAPA has still been around, and it has so many different programs because we really want to bring community, and one of the ways to bring community is through drag performers, through chorus, through theater, through socials, through hikes, through sports, through, I mean, gosh, so many things. If you're interested, check it out, gappa.org. Again, gappa.org/runway that Virginia kind of mentioned is on going to be on November 21st, and tickets
mhm.
are available now. Again, gappa.org/runway. We do need volunteers. We do need some sponsors if you're interested to help keep that work going. I'm so proud of our legacy together as now that we're called GAPA Immortals, because I
Yes.
literally when I won in 2016, I was like, so who are the past winners? I don't know. I just want to know who they are. And they're like, well, we don't really keep in touch too much. We don't do anything. And I was like, why not? We should totally keep in touch. And like,
Well,
because
yeah.
for at least 1 year, those folks in GAPA, have like become the spokespeople of GAPA, the spokespeople of the brand. And so I created the idea of a GAPA Immortal, and now I'm so happy that it's called GAPA Immortals Rising.
I love it. And you know what? I heard there is a website coming up,
Yes,
right?
it's in the chat. Gappa.org/runway. It's out there. It's
Yeah,
live.
it's
It's
an amazing
going.
website, and it's a great resource if you really want to get to know your community. Back when I won Mr. Gappa, I was really searching for more information, and sure, we had a gappa.org website before, but this is more sort of like easily consumable. The branding is just amazing, and the content of what you will see there is just very informative of our heritage as an organization. So you go check it out, Gappa Runway, gappa.org/runway, right? Am I right, Juicy?
Yes, that's exactly right. And thank you for the shout out, Virginia, because that was a huge rebrand effort that we've undertaken past
Yeah.
couple years.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danny Chung if he's watching. Our brand director at GAPA came with a new logo. I mean, we had been using a logo since like the 90s or something. Anyways, I want to talk more a little bit about like how we can move the LGBTQ movement forward. Um,
Definitely.
like, do you have any thoughts there?
Definitely. Yeah. I think my basic belief is that we need to pressure our leaders
Mm-hmm.
to to this is already happening in some states, but I think that education on LGBT history should begin as early as it should, because we have LGBTQIA plus children that are out there that
Mm-hmm.
are needing all this information and needing reference of our history and our culture. And I think that these information should be available to us early as it should be in the educational system. So we need to tell our leaders that we should have a curriculum in our educational system to promote LGBT history, and and yeah, it should be a national thing.
Yeah,
So
I love that you brought that up, Virginia, because think about when you were, well, you were in the Philippines, but when I was
mhm,
growing up in Texas, before that, North Carolina, Georgia, I was living in in California. There was no studies about LGBTQ history or anything like
mhm,
Harvey Milk. That wasn't like, no one told me about that until like I was like in law school actually. Like
mhm,
that's how late it was for me.
yeah.
Um, a great organization, Our Family Coalition here in California, and I worked with Our Family Coalition because I'm a drag performer and I get around. But they're one of the amazing advocacy groups that push for LGBTQ history, culture being taught in schools in California. Um, Another good way, aside from running for something, which again I'm running for something. Thanks. But if you want to run for elected office, check out Victory Fund, Victory Institute. I've done that training. It's great. It's amazing how to get LGBTQ people into elected office. But just the most simple, the most basic thing is to get registered to vote. I'm sounding like a dead horse here, I know.
Yeah.
But register to vote. Again, 1 out of 5 LGBTQ people were not registered to vote in 2016. That's insane.
Yeah.
Young people, I hear all the time this, they call it disaffected voters, but people
Yeah.
who just don't, or low propensity voters, people who just don't go vote, right?
Mhm.
They kind of feel left out of the system. They feel like it's not for them. They feel like regardless of whether they vote, things are not going well for them. You know, Here's the thing about voting. You just have to keep doing it over and over. Make it like something, like the most powerful thing that you can do to affect society. And I think there might be a slide. If you can see it or not, that's cool. But again, check out the slide. One way to vote on November 3rd is to get registered by Monday, October 19th. It's quick and easy. Registertovote.ca.gov. It's online. I think you can do it online. There's also a way to send in via mail. Also, this time around, and I just put it into the Twitch chat because that's how technical I am. I'm reinventing myself. This is the first time I ever did that, but that's how important it is, I think,
Yeah.
for people to get registered to vote.
Yeah, but I would also add, Lucy, and push it a little bit forward to invite people to vote for candidates that represents their rights and their beliefs. And if you're LGBTQIA plus, please research the people that you vote and make sure that they're representing you.
Yes, I love
Mhm.
that you called that out, Virginia, because that is one way we as LGBTQ people can protect ourselves with our rights. You got to have people in office who are with our community, and that's
Definitely.
I definitely agree with that statement. I
Mhm.
also want to make sure that people understand that at least in California, they automatically send you a mail vote thing. Was it mail ballot? What's it called? Vote by mail. Vote by mail ballot. And vote by mail ballots come out around October 5th, around the first week, around October 7th, something like that. But if you're not registered to vote already, then you have to wait for that. But that's kind of a new thing this year because of the COVID crisis. Make sure you have a plan to vote. Once you get your ballot, try and fill it out as soon as you can and get it in the mail. Get it in early, or drop it off at like City Hall or wherever they take the ballots. This is a big deal. Um, I don't want to belabor the point too much, and I do, but any thoughts there, Virginia?
Lucy, aren't you part of the Drag Out to Vote campaign?
I am. Oh
Yes,
my
please talk about that.
gosh.
I want to know more.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's like all these, basically any drag performer can go out there and go vote. We might, yeah, we're getting a little funny things on Twitch right now. But basically, Drag Out the Vote is this initiative started basically by a lot of the RuPaul girls, Brita Filter, I forgot her name. It's just about, but it's like the national co-chairs of this campaign, and basically they're using their platform because drag performers generally always have a lot of social media following, a lot of folks getting on their phone just like you are, Virginia, and
I'm
can't
sorry.
stop looking at the
You
drag
caught me,
performer.
girl.
Yeah, on TikTok, on the Instagram,
Ah,
on the social
no,
media,
I was
but
trying to
drag.
see Well, I was trying to see the chat. Like, is there any reactions so far?
Okay. Yeah,
Have
no worries.
reaction?
I'm not reading you at all. But yeah, check out Drag Out the Vote.
Wow.
Dragoutthevote2020.org. It's a great website where you can also find out if you're I dropped a link in the chat about California, but if you're not in California, you can check out dragoutthevote2020.org and find out if how to get registered to vote there, how to it's so important. That's why I'm spending so much time on this. Virginia, you gotta join us. You can still apply to be an ambassador, drag
Oh, there's
ambassador.
an application. I thought there were you guys were just chosen, like one
No,
by one.
there's a little form you fill out. That's
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah.
choose you basically.
Maybe I don't have much credentials yet as a drag
No,
queen.
honey, I'm here to empower you.
So.
You've got all the credit. Look at your face, honey. You are gorgeous.
Oh,
Okay.
this little thing. Thank you. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
So, and also your TikTok. Tell me about your TikTok following and
Oh
how you got-
yeah. So I'm really working my way up for the next tier of the creative learning fund. And this time I reinvent again. I talked about this earlier. I reinvented myself to not only represent the queer Filipino community, but represent the Asian and Pacific Islander community.
Mm.
And maybe we can watch some of the TikToks, right? Is it time to watch that right now?
Yeah, it's
Let's do
totally
it.
time to watch
Let's
some
do that,
TikTok
Tassie.
videos.
Let's watch some of the TikTok videos that I
Do you,
made.
do you want to introduce it or you're good?
Yeah, so these so I've been creating 15-second videos. So there's 5 that I'm gonna show who I think best represents my content. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
take it away, Tassie.
George Takei is a Japanese-American actor, author, and activist. Takei is best known for his role as Hikaru Sulu of the television series Star Trek. Takei formally came out in 2005 and has paved the way for so many Asian and Pacific Islander queer actors. Tip number 1. When you're recording yourself on the phone, avoid too much headspace. Headspace is the space between your head and the top of the screen. But you don't want to cut your forehead either. You need to dominate the frame and make sure that you're the center of attention and look fierce. Darren Criss portrayed a gay character in the show Glee, and later on portrayed another gay character in the show The Assassination of Gianni Versace. Although Darren Criss is a self-proclaimed straight guy, is it really difficult to find a Filipino gay actor who can sing? Bretman Rock is a Filipino-American social media personality based in Hawaii. He started as a comedian and meme creator on YouTube before venturing into vlogs and makeup tutorials. He's so cute. Filipino model Gina Rosero made history when she came out as a transgender woman during her TED Talk in 2014. Gina has spoken about transgender rights at the White House, the World Economic Forum, and the United Nations. George Takei is a Japanese-American actor, author,
Oh my gosh. It's so good. Can you hear me still? Am I here?
Yes, you're here. Was there audio? I'm not sure if I.
Oh my gosh, they're so cool. I love everything that you were posting. I know I'm gonna have to check you out on Virginia Please on TikTok. TikTok?
TikTok.
But
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I love all the tips. I mean, the headspace thing. I don't have to deal with that too much because my hair is so high. But I do have a forehead issue. But do you have any quick? You don't have to read me, girl. But do you have any quick tips right now? I'm trying to adjust my lighting. It's a very yellow room right now. I don't know why.
Yeah. So if a quick tip is, if you want to up your game with your lighting, you need to put a backlight. I don't know if you can see it. You could almost see it from my back. There's a light that's shining on just directly on my head, and they're shining a little bit here because that separates you from your background, Juicy. So that's a little tip that I can impart to everybody.
This is why I need to bring Virginia on as my co-host because she will make me look good, honey. Well, it was lovely chatting you. Well, you're now a permanent fixture on this show, so we'll get more with you. I want to bring up our next guest, which actually is the reason why we're all here, folks. Okay. Trami Kron is the founder and chief editor of ChopsticksAlley.com and the executive artistic director of the nonprofit Chopsticks Alley Art and author of Vietnam Easy, a novel about mothers, daughters, and food. She created Chopsticks Alley as a platform for the younger Vietnamese and Filipino generation to have a space to express their points of view about news, business, art, food, and culture. She recently got appointed as an arts commissioner for the city of San Jose.
Woohoo!
Welcome, Commissioner Trammy. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Hi.
We are talking to our VIP.
Didn't you
Yes.
know? Thank you so much, Juicy, for having me on your show today. I've been watching you for all these episodes. And I'm like, when is she ever going to invite me? You know? So I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited you're here to join us, and also to have Virginia join us. We're kind of again reinventing ourselves. We're working on this new format. So Virginia,
Mhm.
you may not be right in front of your computer like I am, because my computer monitor is lighting me up like this. That's why I'm like a weird color. I swear my contours great. but feel free to chime in with any questions you may have.
Definitely.
I'm just gonna kind of roll with it. Just
Yeah.
do things. But
This is your live audition. Didn't you know, Virginia?
there was just one more piece of the
Whoops.
puzzle you didn't know.
I was not prepared.
But yeah, tell me, Charmy, how are you? How are things? How are you doing?
Things are great. I just, I have so many projects I'm working on. So each time we find wonderful talent like you, and then you found Virginia, I'm just like so excited. It's like almost like giving birth, and then it kept multiplying, but I didn't have to give the birth anymore. So I'm great. I love it. And been working on a lot of projects lately.
Oh, like tell me more about your projects.
Well, recently I'm doing a huge fundraiser for
Mm.
art kits for families and children who are
Okay.
sheltering in place, and also for some of our fire evacuees. Once you lose everything. And art is so important to me because when I was a kid immigrating from Vietnam to France, art was the first time I got introduced to a moment of no anxiety, a
Mm,
moment where I didn't need to fit in, that I didn't have to speak French, and that I didn't have to follow any rules, and I could do whatever I wanted. And so
mm,
I know that art has a place for healing. So even
mm,
for that moment of just peace when you are stressed out about, the situation of that's going on right now, you're running away from fires, you have nothing left. It's just something that's so dear to my heart. And we're excited because we have not only the Facebook community supporting us, we also have Google. So Google has an Asian fundraising group, and they're trying to raise $20,000 for us. So we're very excited, and along with District 7. So Council Member Maya Esparza is also supporting us in this effort. And
wow.
also, so Mrs. Lucia Cha, she's doing, so it's just like incredible. And could you believe, as soon as we call it out or said, hey, who needs art kits, we had over 1,000 requests. So that's why
Wow.
I'm like, how the heck are we going to do this? But we will. Yeah.
That's amazing. And if you yeah, I cannot believe that, 1,000 folks just kind of, and this is just, how much marketing was there about this? Just a call out, just a general call
It
out?
was just a general call out, and it's actually a Vietnamese elder group
Mm,
who are Vietnamese elders, they're just sheltering in place and they
mm-hmm.
have nothing to do. It's not like they're able to get on Zoom or get on Facebook and do all these things that we're doing. They're just lonely. And so if this is a way for us to be able to connect with them, even when we deliver a kit or have that human connection. And we're trying really hard to do that.
Yeah, no, and thank you so much for your work with that. And also, I missed the council member's name, but to have
Maya
such.
Esparza, shout out to her. She's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because we need government support for the arts. We definitely need it, and I can talk to you a little bit about like the healing nature of art. I mean, actually, I didn't experience that. People tell, okay, drag queens say this all the time. Drag queens saved my life. Drag, doing drag, performing drag saved my life. All this stuff, and I actually never really felt that until today. Because today I was having a very bad morning. I kind of missed a thing for work. I, had some drama happening with some of the nonprofit boards, as it happens, but that's all to say we then we met as a production team, and then I was painting my face, and I was like kind of in a bad mood, but then suddenly after I was done painting my fabulous eye makeup,
you
um
look you
I
look
was like,
amazing.
thank you. I was fishing for compliments. But no, but I was like, I really felt it. Like when you, there's a thing when you, and that's why I always tell people try drag. And you don't have to be a drag queen. You don't have to be a drag performer, but just try it. It's just for fun. And
Definitely.
and
So
there's,
and
yeah, go for
sorry
it.
for butting. My camera just, if you notice, my camera turned off. I have to change the battery. I'm kind of like a one woman show here. Sorry about that. That's amazing, Juicy. But I have a specific question for Tammy, because
Okay.
I'm so fascinated by the work that you're doing right now, and I think it actually takes a lot to actually push yourself to address a community and to serve a community. So my question for you is, what was there a specific event, an experience, or moment that really struck upon you, and you decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna, make a space for our community.
Yeah, I actually grew up mostly with the white community, if you will. And when I think about the Vietnamese community, I didn't live in the Vietnamese community. And when I did go visit, like Little Saigon in Orange County or Little Saigon up in San Jose, I felt really intimidated and
Mm,
distant and confused about it all because I didn't grow up in that environment. But then, age.
Mhm.
So when I got to a certain age where I'm like, who am I? What am I? Am I trying to just fit in with the people I really don't fit in with? What is going on? So I started to question that. And it's also through the writing of my book, Vietnamese, which is about the Vietnamese culture, when I went to Vietnam to visit. And
mm,
lo and behold, so my last time I was in Vietnam was when I was 8 years old. I visited in 2013 for the first time. And it was like being home.
mm.
I finally felt like I belonged somewhere,
Wow.
right? And so then I'm like, wow, this is what I need to explore my culture. So I was living in Santa Cruz at the time, and I would drive up every weekend and attend every Vietnamese event I could find that were, for nonprofit, and got to know people. And I'm like, that's it. I'm moving to San Jose. That's it. And now I'm fully immersed. And so I think age makes you question
Mm.
everything you've done, why you're doing it, and why does it matter. And I need to do things that matter now, and
Mhm.
that's the
I love
difference.
I love that. That's as Oprah would say, that's a tweetable thing.
Yeah,
That's a tweet right there. You know.
that's an amazing story. And I think, we share the same views, as immigrants. Um, for me, basically, I came here at the age of 34. So there was really a point where I felt so lost, and I feel like I'm in between. I'm in limbo. Like there's battle in my head between cultures, and that can be really isolating. So, providing a space for people like us. Thank you very much, Chami, for this work and for the space and for the opportunity to, make us express ourselves and push for representation. So that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm very lucky because I'm the one with the idea, but I
Hmm.
have this entire community supporting the idea. So that means there's a need and there's a want and there's also money to support it, right? We can't do anything without money.
Hmm.
And so here's a
Yes.
plug. Donate to Chopsticks Alley. Go to chopsticksalleyart.org, click the donate button. But really, we have so many volunteers and incredible board members and people who support this work. So it's not just me.
That
Amazing.
that's
No, but
amazing.
you should be celebrated, Trami, for your
Thank
work.
you. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we
I do
salute
want to
you.
remind folks on the Twitch, if you're not already following Chopsticks Alley, go ahead and follow, hit that follow button. If you're watching on Facebook or whatever, wherever you are, go ahead and follow Chopsticks Alley uh, on Twitch, on YouTube, on all the things. We definitely appreciate all the sponsors for Chopsticks Alley, and also this space right now. I actually talking about finding yourself and belonging. That's a huge thing, especially I think for queer people, because especially queer API people generally, and I'm speaking for myself. Like, when I first came out, and it was in Texas, I suddenly was like exposed to all queer culture, and I actually identified more as a gay man at the time than as a more Vietnamese, and I'm Vietnamese. Of course I know I'm Vietnamese, but it felt like I couldn't exist as both. And there's this common story I hear over and over, like from folks with GAPA and all these other queer and trans API organizations, But thank you so much for creating the space where you can we actually see on TV, on Twitch, that people can exist as both queer and trans API people, as Vietnamese people, as Southeast Asians, as Filipino. Like
Yes.
that's such a gift, and
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for it.
By the way, Tremi, why the name Chopsticks Alley? I just want. I mean, I can understand, but I think some of our folks want to understand as well who are watching right now.
Sure. So I wanted something that was uniquely Asian. So what really identifies us without saying much? Chopsticks. All right. But then I think about alley, and alleyways, so many things happen in the alley, right? In the
Mm,
American context, American culture context, alleys are like dark, scary, bad things
Mm,
happen. But
mhm.
in the Asian culture, so those in the know that amazing, wonderful things happen in the alley where you have food stalls and people selling things, and it's just
mm,
this life happens in the alley. So
mhm.
Mm.
Chopsticks Alley is just this perfect. For those who don't know, they recognize Chopsticks, and for those in the know, it's us. We get the alley, and that's why Virginia, you said you knew, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm sure in the Philippines,
Yeah.
alleys are awesome, right?
Yes, we call it canto canto. We
Yeah,
have, yeah, we have mini grocery stores, we have vendors, and that's just part of the culture. The alley is, where the people hang out and talk,
yeah.
which is not present here in the Western world.
Nope, nope.
Like,
Yeah.
why isn't there an alley? Is there an alley in San Jose or no?
There are, well, there are bad alleys. um, I think that the move is to shift to create good alleys. So
Mm,
slowly, I think in 20 years we'll be there.
mm,
But certainly on the city level, there are discussions about how do we revamp San Jose so that it is more welcoming using public transportation, lots of walkability,
yeah.
and within the Parks and Recreation division, which I used to be on the commission there. There's also talk about how do we create more green space that are welcoming, and then making it safer for everyone.
Wow, you're speaking my language, my love language, Chami. Because I also sit on the board of Livable City here in San
Ah,
Francisco, trying to get more open spaces. We do Sunday streets, talking, and I'm thinking about San Jose specifically though. Like I think they just opened up the first LGBTQ cultural district there.
yes, it's amazing.
Mhm.
It's the first one, which is, how crazy is that? We're right next to San Francisco, and it took how many years
Yeah,
to finally have one? That's nuts. That's
yeah. I
nuts.
mean, and that's the thing. We need to have culture, and if it's not physically, there's a place for it. They call it third places. Like cafes or bars or a lot of what's happening with the shelter in place is like these third places are dying
Yeah.
because no one can go to them, and it's just it's tragic, and at the same time a time for reinvention because things will go away and then something will come back. I mean, I believe that. I believe in it. I don't know. Trami, you've been around. Have
I've been around the
you're an
block.
arts
Thanks,
commissioner.
Juicy.
Shade. No.
Yeah,
Just
all
kidding.
kinds of shade here. What's happening now? I mean, so what is your question?
Well, tell. I mean, do you think that things will turn around after COVID?
Of
Like
course,
reinvent itself? Yeah.
they have to, because we're humans. Humans reinvent ourselves all the time. So
Hmm.
yes, of course. I also am a believer of abundance, right? The law of abundance, and yes, but we need to correct our course. So when we're off course, Mother Nature calls us and reins us in. So that's what's happening now, and we will correct ourselves. And I definitely think that there will be a comeback for us.
Nice. Well, tell us a little bit more about, like, you have a conscious alley midday. What's that? A
Okay.
medi veggie? Is that what
Medi
is it?
veggie. Yeah, it sounds like Manny Petty, right?
Ah.
It's where you get your nails done. No, I'm just kidding. So it's Chopsticks Alley. So now we're Conscious Alley. I feel like we need, as humanity, shift our consciousness to take care of each other and, of course, the environment. And so, why not start with vegetarianism? So,
Mm.
on that show, which is every Wednesday for half an hour, if you're at work, you can just tune in, very easy, no big deal. Do a 15-minute meditation, learn about some vegetarian dish that you can shift your diet and change.
Mm.
So it's just a quick thing. And, I work with Dr. Smita Garg, who is our main meditator. So she helps guide us. And
Oh,
also
okay.
a wonderful team of Esther Young, who is our hostess. And also, I'm forget. Pardon me, I'm like kind of nervous. I'm like, ooh. Um, also our other person, type it in, Esther, if you're watching, who is so incredible. He makes it all well-rounded for us because he has so much knowledge. Matthew Moncio. Suddenly it said my name. He's gonna kill me now if he's watching. He's
It's
like,
okay.
I
Brain
quit.
farts happen at your
He's
age.
all, I quit. Yeah, at my age. So yeah, it's really fun because we get to talk about everything from, we would go from, oh, let's talk about, Mother Earth, to like crystals and how to heal with crystals.
Mm.
Yeah, to a wonderful calming meditation. And we're building this community. So it's gaining traction as well. Super fun. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And it's only a 30-minute thing in the
Yeah.
beginning. Wow,
I mean,
that's
we
really easy.
we sort of do what you do, where we started early, but it's just us chit chatting, whatever, so people can come on, and then we end it later. But the commitment, if anybody wants to join, they know that at 12:15 to 12:45 we have vegetarian food and meditation, and so it's like a really
Gorgeous.
short, yeah.
I
segment.
actually went for the first time to Berkeley Bowl because my friend used to go into UC Berkeley and he was like raving about all the produce. And I was like, really? Is it that great? I actually went, amazing. And then they also have all the like meat alternatives. So like I have some like non-meat meat, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm excited to try, but also a little bit nervous to like, cook it. So maybe I'll join. What day is it again?
It's on Wednesdays. Every
Every Wednesday.
Wednesday at 12:15 Pacific time.
Okay.
And it would be so fun to have you on the show and share a vegetarian recipe with us.
Well, because like I've been cooking a lot more because
You have.
I
Yeah.
have. I mean, because my shelter in place creativity, like reinvention thing has been cooking. Because like for the longest time, I've never cooked anything. I'm always like going out to eat, and it's so expensive, and then also like very bad for you.
Right.
So. I just made tikka, so it's not vegetarian. But I was like, is there a vegetarian? like,
Tikka,
version?
yeah. There is. I don't know how to make it, but I've had it at vegetarian restaurants. It's amazing how they make the fake pork.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it because you have the skin, the fat, the meat, everything, but it's all mock meat.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That's so. See,
amazing.
I'm excited because also one of the best ways to care for the environment, to be conscious for the environment, is to kind of like eat less meat, especially beef. Beef is like the number one. Like if you could just like cut out beef a little bit,
Yeah,
you'll be saving
I
a lot
have
of water.
I have a very unique, probably not unique perspective on food as well. And some of you may be offended by it, but to me, just coming from the perspective of consumerism, for me, basically food is, basically energy.
Yeah.
And, I think if you shift your perspective on that and sort of examine the world of, the food industry, with consumerism, I think, you could go back to the basics of what you need as a person, or in the terms of energy, right? I don't know what my point is, but am I making sense?
I was waiting for it, Virginia. I was like, Virginia, please. Tell me where you're going with this.
No,
No,
to
well,
treat.
my point is I'm not very particular with food, so don't put me in the kitchen because I'm just gonna mix everything up. I'm telling you, I mix ketchup, peanut butter, and leftovers and whatnot.
You know what's really interesting? I heard this recently, and I'm just like, what? So I have to like do some research on this. So this is from my chiropractor. She's a millennial, and so she's saying there's this movement where the idea is you buy part of a cow or half a cow, or whatever, grass fed, and you put it in the freezer and whatever. And when you do that, you can feed your family for a long time.
Mm.
Versus when you grow vegetables or clear a field to grow vegetables, you're actually killing a lot of life. You're killing plants, insects that live there, like a whole ecosystem that you killed off to grow vegetables. So there's this balance. Somebody should look it up and tell me what that term is, but there's a balance between, yes, you can still eat meat, but do it in this effective way. So have you heard of this?
Yeah, I've heard of this basically existing out of the food complex of the industrial complex. There's
Right.
terms of art, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We can probably do a whole show and
On
maybe
food.
Yeah.
maybe get an expert. I mean, speaking of shows and stuff, are you looking for more talents for the Twitch channel?
Yes, because we want to find talents like you. We want people to come tell us, send us an email, chopsticks@gmail.com. tell us if you have an idea and you want to do your own show. Like, we're all for it. So the idea is for Southeast Asian voices, narratives. I started this telling ghost story show, and it was so good. I had a lot of people who were interested, but then if you
Ooh.
believe, yeah, if you believe in ghosts and spirits, I had to shut down the show because each time I do it, something weird happens.
Yeah.
Seriously, like it would send me onto like stress heck,
Oh,
so I stopped the series.
yeah.
So something to consider when you plan to do something, that to shift, to reinvent yourself if you need to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
this is a perfect time for anyone who's talented or who wants to be featured. Let us know, we're all for it. We want to talk to you. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yes.
I have seen some chat duendes be watching Twitch right now. Shout out.
Yeah, I'm
And then
interested
also
on what we have so far from the audience.
yeah,
Yeah.
Any feedback?
I think, and then
Cassie?
also I saw Esther making a whole bunch of comments, loving the meaning behind Ali, and awesome. Got to get some new publication pieces. See, I can totally follow our Twitch and sort of bring
You're
it into the conversation.
multitasking. See,
Multitasking. I have two screens.
so proud of you. I know I do too. And I'm like looking back and forth. And Jethro's like his second, Virginia's second screen is like her
Yeah, it's my
phone. In
phone.
case you're wondering what she's doing, she's not like
Yeah.
ordering pizza. Okay.
I'm monitoring if there's a chat or whatnot. So don't mind me, guys.
Well, yeah, I'm not taking shade at all. This is amazing conversation we're having. I do want to kind of do a shout out to any queer or trans API people who want to join us on Juicy Thoughts, or maybe we reinvent the name. We might change the name. Um, Check me out on Juicy Lou Realness. That's LIU Realness on Gmail at Gmail, and we can get you booked. I am very much about booking queer and trans API people, having new show ideas, pitch me a show idea. I love the idea of animal rights, maybe food and animal rights. I actually just met someone from the queer board match event that Turnout did in San Francisco a couple weeks, or maybe last week. Um, so speaking of food, we might have a new show, but we'll be your feeder system, Trammy. We'll kind of make sure they're good
Yeah.
to go.
All
They're
right.
ready. And also shout out to Yancey, our new producer, helping us out on all the channels. We're on Facebook. We're on like 8 different channels. We're on YouTube
I know.
live. Um,
You know, Yancey back in the Philippines, he was one of the biggest fashion directors over there. And now he's
Oh.
transitioning here, and I'm so glad that we're in good hands because, he knows all the technicalities already. He's worked with everybody in the Philippines. And Yancey, thank you so much for all your help.
Yeah, he created all the look, right?
Yeah.
And
the
that's
new overlays, all
yeah.
this. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous, by the way. I mean, not that the old ones were bad or anything. It was just,
A
I don't know,
change.
this one seems
It's a
slick.
yeah, it's a shift. And Tossie, he's an island man, right? He's island boy. So he's got his thing, so that's what we do. We
Yeah.
shift. And so now we're moving to, what Yancey's look is gonna be. So it's very
Cassie is the
exciting.
coolest guy, one of the coolest guys I've
Totally.
ever met. Yeah.
We love green bananas on Twitch.
Yes.
I was inspired by Tasi to sort of do Twitch more and I bought a gaming computer. Check that out.
Wow.
I haven't yet turned it on yet because I don't have the right cables, but it'll eventually happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, shout out to Tossie and his show Creepanas. I mean, he's so good and so dedicated,
Yeah, I love how it's. I actually asked that because green bananas. It's actually be green bananas, but green bananas in an accent, I think. But I'm sorry if I'm doing the accent badly. I do want to give is there anything else that we should chat about with you, Trammy? How are you finding yourself reinventing anything else? Like you're up to a lot, like art commissioner.
Yeah. So with the art commission, right? It's a whole new thing for me, and I'm hoping to bring more public art in low income communities. There's a lot of things for downtown San Jose that are in the works and planned. But what about the rest of San Jose? We need public art too, right? And
Mm-hmm.
public art is so important because how often do folks who are of low income get to go to a museum, even though now you can anyway? But when you could, you can't, right? Or they don't have time; they have to work, and so it's our way of beautifying our community. And I was really inspired by my visit in Denver. If you've ever been, it's incredible that they have reinvented themselves. Denver,
Mm.
it's no longer a stopover. If you ever have to land a plane there, take a few days and explore downtown. It is incredible. And I would love for San Jose to have an identity, to have a strong art presence, and just really that diversity we have. Let's celebrate it, you know? Um,
That's
to
amazing. Yes, Denver has this beautiful promenade and like it feels like a downtown feel. Lots of public spaces, public art. Um, I know I haven't been in a while, but last time I was there, I had a great time. Even though it's the Mile High City, and I think it was hard to breathe a little bit. But, you know, I'm
no,
a big
it's
girl, so whatever.
yeah, it's awesome. It's really great now what they've done. So check it out again when you have a chance. But come down to San Jose, Juicy. I still have your box of sunfish sauce.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
look, mom, fish
Yes,
sauce.
all
Oh
of the
my
Nook Mom, you gotta come get some, and then
I
we
know.
should send Virginia some. And Yancy is like, I'm in LA. I'm like, hey, have to send everybody some fish sauce. I'm peddling fish sauce now.
Well, I have to try it out. I mean, and also, people have been commenting about my cooking newfound ability, I guess. I basically follow the recipe. I'm just really good at measuring, like, and they're like, how do you know how to cook? I'm like, it's all online. I look at Helen's recipes online. That's one of my favorites for Vietnamese
Me
food.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
Helen's
right? She's really
great. She has
good.
a cute little accent. It's very easy too. Her
Yeah.
recipes are very
It's
easy.
simple. It's
Yep.
very easy. I like that
Yep.
it's easy. It's a little bit of too much sugar, but Um, yeah. Well, Virginia, do you have any last thoughts for Trammy before we
I'm
start a
so
game?
excited. Yeah, I'm just so excited for Chami's work and so thankful and grateful for her as well.
And thank you for coming
Yeah,
on as the co-host with Juicy. I can't wait.
definitely.
You guys are so smart because I was listening to all your political back and forth. I'm like, please, please, Juicy, do not ask me any political questions. I represent the softness of this show
Ah,
today.
Wait,
yeah.
I'm plenty soft. What are you talking about? I'm very soft right now.
But no,
Yeah.
voting is important, definitely. So
Mhm.
register to vote, right?
Yeah. There you go. There
Very
you
Yeah.
much
go.
so. And so we're gonna actually play a little game. And if you are also you've seen the show Juicy Thoughts, you might notice that we're going a little bit over the hour. So we're actually gonna
Ooh.
go to about, just to let you know, just to give you an understanding of things. We're going to maybe another 20 minutes or so, just because we want to be luxuriating in this conversation. We want to enjoy each other's company. Like one of the
Is that a
past
word?
things.
Juicy, luxuriating.
Yes, honey, luxuriating.
I
We're
learned something from
languishing. We're
you.
not languishing. That's a bad word. Lagrimo, no, not lagrimosa. That's a bad word too. See, I started SAT words. SAT words in my head.
I will be using that word from now on. Luxuriating. Yes.
Yes, honey. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta luxuriate in that lotion,
Yeah.
that conversation,
Yeah.
yeah, lavish. That's the word. Yes, lavish luxury. There's so many songs, letters, whatever. But we're gonna play a little game.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to give you a shout out again to check out our Twitch channels, Juicy Lou Realness, Chopsticks Alley, also TikTok Virginia _ please. You gotta check that out. I'm also on TikTok. I'm not very good at it, so I just kind of
Yeah, I don't
I
know how
do
to do
reaction
it.
videos because it's easier. I don't
I
know.
tried and I'm like, I don't get it. But I do have like one post of me and my cat or something.
Well, I mean, you got to keep up with the times, right? We're here in Silicon Valley. We got to like be innovative, reinvent ourselves, and figure things out. But yeah,
Yeah. TikTok is such a, controversial platform, but I'm glad that they have the Creative Learning Fund. They've really been pushing for that, but understand the concerns around the app as well. But my position on it is, I'm taking advantage of the Creating Learning Fund to, again, make representation a priority for some of us. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that part of it.
You know who I love on TikTok? Sorry to interrupt. You know who I love is the Vietnamese queen from RuPaul's Drag Race, Plastique Tiara.
Yes,
Oh my! Have you seen her, Trammy?
I've seen her.
No, I mean I've seen her on the show, but not her TikTok. No.
Her
Yeah,
TikTok is amazing.
yeah.
Oh
It's,
my gosh.
I mean, just as beautiful as Virginia, but
And more
just
beautiful, darling. No, you can't compare us. She's up way up there.
I mean, she's kind
But
of next level.
Virginia has a great look. Like when you do
Oh,
yours, the blonde. Oh my god.
oh.
I mean, you
Thank you,
guys are
Tammy.
like amazing. Whatever. How much time do you spend? Like I literally spent 5 minutes on my
Oh.
face.
Like 2 hours ish.
Yeah,
2 hours.
I
See,
started at 3:30, and there's so many things. The
it's
nails was the last
I
one.
didn't do my nails because I'm lazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like
Whatever.
amazed.
I
I'm,
hate nails. The nails like destroys everything basically.
Yeah,
but it makes you look very feminine.
Yeah,
Like because
yeah,
I don't
that's
have
what they're
mine.
saying.
See, but yeah, it like puts that
I don't know what you're
punctuation.
talking about. I look very feminine right
Yeah.
now. You know what kind of grandma? I basically give you grandma drag right now. I did not tell you my look, but I'm giving you grandma. Grandma wins a pageant. Big hair from
You're
Texas.
amazing in your pageant, by the way, Juicy. I watched the pageant,
Oh,
and yeah, you truly deserved it. You were outstanding that night.
thank you. I mean, the really quick story is that I wasn't supposed to be on the pageant, but then
Hmm.
Jezebel was needing contestants, and it was the week before the pageant. It was the Sunday before the Saturday night, so 6 days. Most candidates put together their pageant materials over like a month or 2 months or whatever. 6 days. I had 6 days, but six
Amazing.
days she won.
It's
Yeah,
meant to be. See, when
meant to
you're
be.
in alignment with
Yeah.
universe, this is conscious Ally talking. When you're in alignment, things just happen as they
Yeah.
should. There's no pressure, there's no
Hmm.
pushing. It just
Definitely.
happens. Yeah.
I love
Hmm.
that. I feel
Yeah.
it right now. That came through to me, and I hope
Mm.
that comes through to you in our audience watching. Um, because actually, the reason why we're doing a change of the format and with a co-host is to get a little bit less of this. I don't know if you've seen past shows. There's a little bit of an anxious energy, and I have it now too. Still, always a little bit nervous energy, but because we're in a tight 1 hour show, and then like we're also this show isn't on Crate TV, but we would normally be on Crate TV, which is terrestrial TV on Comcast Channel 30. So there was always like a kind of a, I'm on and I have to be hot. Like this, like
Yes.
that's the feel of it. And so I just didn't like that. It was exhausting one, but then also like it felt like I couldn't actually just kind of be real with people and
Hmm.
just get to know folks and our
Yeah.
guests. So
How do you feel now?
I feel blessed and highly favored.
Cool. I
Yeah.
feel the same. Yeah, I feel very comfortable talking with you and with Trammy. So I'm very thankful to be here.
Yeah.
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 It definitely feels very like at home and easy, even though you all look like you're going to a club. But hey.
I look
uh,
like I'm going to bingo on Sunday. I got my
uh,
good beats on though.
all
Well,
right. Were
how
we
about we
supposed to
play
have
a
a game?
game? Is it
Were we supposed to
okay?
have a game, Juicy?
Yeah, let's do the game. So,
Yeah.
okay, so the game is a little bit. I basically made this up because I watched a YouTube or something about. There's these children that do like practice impromptu advocacy,
Mm.
and so they just have to argue a point, one or the other, and both sides. It's really easy, but it's also kind of just getting used to talking, because that's the other thing. Once you vote, right? Once you go out there and vote, then the next thing is like advocating for a position. So Trammy, for example, is advocating for more public art in San Jose. I'm advocating to become part of the Castro LGBTQ cultural district because I feel like we need more access for LGBTQ people of color into the Castro, through land use, for example. There's all kinds of things, and of course, Virginia Please as Jethro is a advocate activist. You can check all the there's made national news, all this stuff. So like, it's all about talking, and I
Mhm.
feel like in our culture, I don't know, not our culture, but I'll speak for myself. I'll use I statements as I'm learning how to do this, but growing up for myself, like it wasn't really encouraged for me to just speak my mind. It wasn't
Mm.
really encouraged for me to sort of argue or like kind of like, you know, make waves. Like it wasn't. That's not the way. The way that I was brought up was like you have to be respectful to your elders. You
Mm.
shouldn't like. You shouldn't even raise your voice to them. Like there's a way that you talk to your elders or anybody in a position of authority. You don't
Mm.
raise your voice. But then I went to law school and all bets were off, right? Like I just learned how to become more of an advocate. And so
Yeah.
this last segment, this last game, even though it's an improv game, it's a very like it's kind of easy, but it really encourages people to sort of, be forward with what's on their mind, what's on their thoughts, and just kind of advocate for a position and try to take a position and try to argue it. It's just a practice. Is that okay? I call it closing thoughts, closing statements. Like you're in court and you're like, I'm an arguer, I'm an advocate, whatever.
What are the mechanics, Juicy?
The mechanics will be I deliver a prompt, or
Okay.
maybe we can trade off, and we can trade off whoever gives the prompt, right? So
Okay.
someone gives a prompt, and then the other two folks kind of argue both sides of that prompt. So
Woo!
I
That
A
sounds so
know
debate,
hard.
basically. Pressure,
I'm telling you, but
pressure.
I got this from children. Children do
Oh,
this. And
okay.
Okay.
like so it's just say what you think comes to your mind. It's no right answer, no wrong answer. You can pick both of the same sides if you want. You can pick the other side, like whatever you want, like this is what they do in law school too. Oral arguments. This is our oral arguments. We're in mock trial, mock, whatever. So yeah, it'll be really easy. Here's the
Okay.
first one. Should I vote in the election in November 3rd? Yes
Yes.
or no?
Yes.
And say why.
Yes, because you
Oh
have
my God.
to. Because Juicy said so.
Virginia, do you have any?
Do I need to take the other position? That's such a.
You don't have to. You don't have
I
to.
can take the other position. I can take the.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't. My vote doesn't count anyway. I mean, like
Okay.
when in the last election, Hillary we got more votes, but Trump still win. So it didn't matter anyway because I live in California and it's gonna be Democratic win anyway. Blah blah.
Mm, got it. Well. Yeah, I'm a little bit conflicted. Should we take the debate seriously or just for fun? That's where I'm conflicted at.
This is also your preparation for become the next Miss
Ah.
Scouting because you have to kind of attack a question that's
Okay.
hard, but also make it fun and entertaining. Yay!
Well, if I were to take the no position, I only believe in Bernie Sanders, and he's not a candidate, so I'm not going to vote.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to take the other side of things just because I can. And that, regardless of, the presidential stuff, Trami, you mentioned maybe my vote doesn't count, or Virginia, you mentioned that maybe it's not my candidate. This election is so important. It is also important to get into the habit of voting. That's the other thing. And then there's also more at stake than just the presidential election. There's so many down ballot races. It's actually part of your responsibility as a person who lives here and as a citizen who can vote, to vote, because you are basically giving power to folks to make decisions on your behalf. And like, how can you complain if I love complaining. So like, but how can you complain if you don't even interact with your duty to vote? So it's a constitutional thing. I feel like people lived, fought wars for this freedom. Whenever there's, I'm proud to be an American, like people go to war for this stuff. And if you don't vote, you're just kind of, it's disrespectful to me in my mind. So I'll take the Asian.
If I may redeem myself, Juicy,
Yes, go for it.
I think it is important to vote because it's the only way to shift the system, right? There's no other way we could influence the system and move forward even just a little bit. This is our only chance. If you don't vote, then what else do we have? Nothing. This is all that we have. We need to vote.
Yes, and there's so many other like ballot initiatives on the table. I mean, one right now, I mean, we can go into it, but we don't have to. Is number 16. I think it's a state ballot initiative to overturn affirmative action ban on affirmative action. It's a very divisive issue in API communities, but I mean, um, it's worth kind of looking into why it is, and what's that about, and how it affects public education, how it affects public contracting, how it affects small business owners. Um, you know, I won't get into that, but there's so many more things, right? The next prompt, because we have a little bit of time here for this game, it's something more fun, like I don't know, art belongs on sidewalks. Yes or no?
Totally. Yes.
Tell me why.
Well, for example, back in Denver, it was so much fun because it encourages walking and exploring and living in your city. In Denver, they actually had sidewalks that make sounds when you walk by. It would moo at you, it would like bark at you. It's like so interesting. And then you see these little symbols all over the city. And so you recognize it, and it's just super fun. And I think for kids, it must be really fun. It's like finding a treasure.
Mm,
So yes, art on the sidewalk. Why not? Let's paint the town,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I don't think it's even a question. There's an artist called Banksy who has been, I don't know if you guys are, I'm pretty sure you guys know him, but his art is actually, his stage is actually the streets. And his paintings sell to millions and millions, and it's very highly acclaimed. He makes such strong political statements. If you look at our history, art has always been originating from political point of views. The point of view, the perspective of the artist is always political, about the situation around him, or even what his personal struggles are, which is actually influenced by the environment and the political structure that he belongs to. So yes, definitely art is for the street, and it's for the public to consume. It shouldn't be just for the elites,
Right.
to enjoy.
Agree.
It needs to be for everybody, just like Medicare. Oh my god.
Art for the people.
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
also healthcare. Love it.
Yeah.
Do you want to rotate? Who wants to give a prompt?
Woo, go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, what are we supposed to do? Why we shouldn't have art?
No. You can
Oh.
give a
Just
prompt.
prompt.
Okay, just a
to
prompt.
argue a position on whatever, something that we maybe talked about today.
Okay. How about why do we need drag queens?
Whoa. So deep.
Shade.
So deep.
Do you want me to go first?
Go
Virginia?
first, Juicy.
Okay. Well, I mean, the answer is simple. Queer culture has kind of revolved around drag performers, drag kings, queens, drag gender illusionists, gender performers. I'm trying actively to go away from drag queens specifically, because drag queens kind of dominate the space of drag. But I would say that the LGBTQ culture is actually its backbone is around drag performers, because drag performers bring community together. It's been through nightlife performers, through shows, through just kind of charity performers, drag performers, people getting together around a cause. Drag, you can almost always find within the LGBTQ community a drag performer. And so why do drag queens need to exist? Why do drag performers need to exist? It's because our LGBTQ culture needs to exist. It needs to also evolve and needs to meet the moment. And that's why I'm so excited to be here with you on Twitch, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on all the things, and bringing kind of some visibility to a very specific people, community, the Southeast Asian community, who may not believe that drag performers like exist in the community, may not believe that LGBTQ people exist in the Southeast Asian community, and so it's so important for visibility. It's so important for me to put on this big wig and tiara and crazy makeup, because it's just showing I'm using my platform to bring visibility to our unique queer and trans API culture.
Yeah.
And I'm not running for anything special except for the Castro LGBTQ Cultural District on Saturday, September 19th at 12 p.m.
Nice segue, Juicy.
I'm very good at this. CastroLGBT.org/election. Check it out.
Yeah, but if I were to even push forward your idea, Juicy, for me, we don't just need drag queens. Drag queens are just we have been present. If you look at our history, art history, Shakespeare, if you look at the Eastern cultures and the Chinese, they had drag queens in the, in ages. So drag queens have been here. We're always going to be here. You have no choice. You don't need us. We're always going to be here.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah.
In the Vietnamese culture too, it's
Yeah.
always been there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I find interesting? I don't know what it's like in the Philippines, but in the Vietnamese culture, um, it's actually there's no disrespect, there's no hatred
Mm-hmm.
towards the drag community.
Yeah.
When there's special events, they're invited to be in ceremonies to represent something or to do
Mm-hmm.
something. So it's not like here where I don't get it. America's supposed to be this open country, but in so many ways we're not. And
Yeah.
and we're still fighting for these things that have already been given to that community as part of being alive,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how do we shift that? So I'm glad that you are doing the work, all of you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. That's another whole conversation right there about trying to question the binary idea of things, binary gender, and which is a very Western. You're right, Tammy. It's a very Western concept, and which is where we're not present in pre-colonial countries such as the Philippines
Yeah.
and any other country that have been colonized. You will discover that a lot of cultures already have built within their culture and their system, multiple genders and expressions and families. So it's really really good to question history and as well as beliefs and the
Yes.
binary belief. Yeah.
Yes. It's probably religion based. That's going to
Hmm.
be my.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm trying to sound really smart because I want to be invited back.
Well,
Of
I
course.
think you have an invite if you, whenever you want to or need to, you
Yes,
can.
Okay.
I
definitely.
Okay.
want to I want to make sure everybody has the last minute to chat because
Hmm.
or give one last closing thought before we sign off. And maybe Trami, why don't you take it?
I would like to see the Juicy Lou show thrive. I want to see you win the election. I want you to see make all these amazing changes. And then Virginia, you're like so incredible. I can't wait to see where you go next with your TikTok and your knowledge and your background. I think will bring so much wealth to your community and not just your community. Hopefully, this platform can bring it out to the mainstream so that we can all view that we're not threats. We're just here trying to make things better for the world. And then also to thank, our producers behind the scenes who are working so hard and, trying to
Yes.
keeping us aligned, in alignment, like don't stand up, don't sit down. You don't know what goes on behind the scene, but a lot. So I'm just really grateful. And I'm also thankful for everyone who tuned in. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Is it my turn, Juicy?
Yeah, go for it, Virginia.
Yeah.
Last thoughts.
So I'm gonna go personal. I'm going through some personal issues right now. But going to your point earlier, Juicy, drag saved me today.
Mm.
So my message for everyone who's going through personal stuff right now, I know it's such a difficult time. I'm gonna cry.
Aw.
No, it can be very challenging today, but find yourself a mode of expression. It doesn't have to be drag to distract yourself, and because that will hopefully that will get you through the moment and through the day or even the week. And don't be so pigeonholed in whatever issues that you're going. This has been such a great experience for me. Just putting on makeup and being in the show, it distracted me from everything else, so I'm very
Yeah.
thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Virginia, for sharing that, and also thank you, Trami, for your warm words of encouragement and gratitude. I felt it all the way through my video screen here, all the way from in San Francisco, and you know, I definitely agree with Virginia that drag today for me has given me a sense of relief, a sense of kind of just a space to just exist and just be who I am in this version of myself. To be sort of like the hard hitting journalist, I actually have a pen and paper, and trying to be my Gasian Oprah-ness here, but also just kind of be with my community and be with you here on Twitch, on Facebook, on all the things. Um, I'm so excited to continue doing this show, and I'm so happy that Virginia has decided to join me in this crazy journey, and Yancy as our new producer. We can only see more from here. We can do more. I encourage you to sort of take on this role of an advocate and find whatever you like makes your heart sing and
Yes.
makes your like you just can't stop thinking about it. It keeps you up at night, or like you want to read more about it. You want to do more for it, And for me, that's building our community, and I'm so happy and grateful to be given this opportunity and this space. Thank you so much for watching here, Juicy Thoughts. We are here every second Thursday ish or whatever on Chopsticks Alley. Check us out. Follow all the things. Do all the things. We love you. Sending you much love and space and abundance. And check out all the amazing programs on Chopsticks Alley. And we'll see you next time.
Woohoo! Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. That was so much fun.
Yay.